Okay, he's back. Yeah, he had to hang up and call back, so Mike's on the phone.
Checking the recorder.
Kathy, can you raise the volume just a little on the phone? Cause
if I can figure it out without hanging up on somebody.
I think that's it, yeah. Yeah, thanks.
You guys on the phone can hear us fine?
Yep. I can hear you.
Very good.
Okay.
All right. I want to welcome everybody to the first Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments Regional Planning Commission. As everybody's probably aware, the Valley Council of Governments and the Council of Governments of the Central Naugatuck Valley merged and consolidated, and we basically became officially one agency as of January 1st. So, I know Ken, the chair of the CNV RPC, felt it was a good idea to maintain and have this first meeting as soon as possible, so we could all get together, start getting to know one another, and start discussing how we want to operate as we move forward as the combined Council of Governments. So, yeah, I was going to do,
I think you need a copy.
Yeah. Again, let's we just start with introductions. My name is Mark Nielsen. I'm the Director of Planning at the new agency.
Pat Gallagher, I'm a senior planner here at Naugatuck Valley County.
I'm Ruth Parkins from the City of Shelton.
My name is Joanna Rogalski. I am a regional planner at Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments.
Mark Woodbury.
Bob Travers, Woodbury.
Gary Giordano, Town of Bethlehem.
Middlebury. Ken Long, Town of Middlebury.
Aaron Budris, I'm a regional planner and GIS specialist here at the COG.
Bill Peck, Town of Seymour. Robert Flanagan, Town of Thomaston.
Marie King, Town of Bristol.
Joe Yannerman, City of Ansonia.
Kathy Sherman, Woken.
My name is Rick Dunn. I'm the Executive Director of the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments. And people from John?
I'm Jim Sequin, City of Waterbury.
Thanks, Jim.
Michael Zizinski, Town of Beacon Falls.
Go ahead.
I'm Sean Ruest. I'm just a citizen of Bristol, Connecticut, interested in what you're all doing here tonight.
Okay. And
Justin Motino, City of Bristol.
okay, thank you.
And actually, I'd like to say that since this was we started trying to convene membership late November, I thought it was actually it's a very good turnout for the first meeting. Understanding how towns operate in nominating and selecting representatives to this commission, it's not the quickest process out there. So I think we should be happy that we all were able to get our appointments and begin. So that maybe we should open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah, we'll do the pledge and roll call.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We already have sign-in. We can skip the roll call. Yeah, we did have the sign-in. We do have a quorum. We have 19 towns. Quorum based on our bylaws would be 10, and we do have 11. I believe we have.
I think we have 12.
12 present. Okay,
Yep.
so we do have a quorum, and quorum is declared. First item would be just anybody from the public would like to take an opportunity to say a few words before we do get started with the agenda.
Not this evening, thank you.
Okay. So the first item on the agenda is we want to start talking about, since this is a new organization, we need to select and elect our officers. And so instead of trying to do that tonight, we thought the best approach would be to come up with a nominating committee who could come up with people who would be interested in serving as the chair, vice chair, and secretary of the new RPC. With that, open that up to anybody who would like to serve on that nominating committee.
Yeah, I imagine it would be a committee of 3?
In the past, it was usually the committee of 3.
Okay, 3.
Committee of 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm willing to serve on that.
On the committee? Okay.
Yes.
Ken will. Anybody else interested? Okay, Bob.
Hush, got a bunch of new faces.
All right, I will take Debbie Turner, Kathy. Okay, thank you very much.
You're just the nominating committee. You get to nominate the other
I was
people.
going to say, that means we won't be. Well, someone might nominate you.
Uh-oh. So, just as a matter of business tonight, one of the things that you might want to do is elect a temporary chairman to preside over the meeting, or if you do not choose to do that, we can have staff run the meeting tonight. Your choice as a group. Is there an opinion?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Ken Long to run the meeting for this evening, seeing that he was the old chair of the old RPC here in Waterbury. I'll make that motion to have Ken be the chairman. Ken Long of Middlebury be the chairman for this evening.
And the second was by Waterbury or?
Beacon Falls.
Beacon Falls, okay, thank you.
Should we appoint a secretary?
No, we can get by with
The
the
staff
chairman
can
for
take care of
tonight.
it.
Yeah.
And then we'll take
Okay, how about a vote on that?
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion on the motion? No discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
You're it, Ken.
Anybody opposed to the motion? No? Okay. Motion passes. Okay. There was myself and Kathy. Was there a third name that I missed? Or just
Fuck.
Okay, thank you. Let me just break that down.
Just for the record, I have 11 members, voting members present.
Okay.
Okay, I thought I had... Oh, I counted 2 for Woodbury. Yeah, I apologize. So there's 11.
Okay. All right. That item is taken care of. Item 3 was mission statement review, adoption, and action. Has everyone had a chance to review the mission statement?
Your experience with planning commissions are, how was your experience with planning commissions? What do you understand the planning commission to be? Don't all jump in.
Why don't we start with Ruth?
I'll start. I've been on the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission since 2006. I've been the current chair for the past 5 years, so
Okay.
I do have experience.
I don't
Not on a regional, but on a local.
Okay. What do you expect to be happening out of this?
I'm not really sure.
And maybe this would be a good time to sort of explain what the purpose or intent of an RPC is. As you may be aware, the state statute enabled the creation of council of governments, which is a voluntary group of towns coming together to look at regional issues and decide on a regional approach where it makes sense. Councils of governments have the ability to designate a regional planning commission to look at certain items under the COG. It's basically a committee, it's an advisory body. State statute previously requires the COG to look at zoning referrals. Basically, land use decisions in one town and how they may affect an adjacent town. And that's one of the purposes of an RPC, is to actually look at those zoning issues. The RPC is also tasked with developing a regional plan of conservation and development, which is consistent with each of the municipal plans of conservation and development. So those are basically the 2 primary functions of an RPC. And it's really intended to be an advisory body to the Council of Governments. So, the way RPCs have acted is, they generally look at the zoning referrals, text amendments to zoning regulations. They look at the municipal plans of development and offer comments. It really sort of, the intent is, if one town is doing a major development on a border of another, this is an opportunity for that council to learn about that and maybe comment on it. So that's sort of the primary functions, and I think that was captured in your mission statement as drafted.
That's what we were trying to do. Let people know what we do.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission,
Yes.
I'll just go through some of the background from last year's session, what's changed in the statute and how we got to where we are today. When the legislature mandated councils of governments last year, so it's the only form of regional entity allowed in Connecticut anymore, is the council of governments, chief elected officials sit at the table. The requirement was to be that the chief elected officials would be making these decisions. The regions kind of fought back during the session, said, no, we want to keep regional planning commissions in place. So all they wrote into the statute, and these are the handout Joanne gave you, the two statutory sites.
Actually, three. I published three.
You include the other one. So the ones that deal with referrals would be just the two of them. I believe 83B and 826B. Those are specific statutory referrals to the local aid, to the regional aid entity. Now, what 124N says is that the COG may appoint a regional planning commission to take on these duties. Now, our board has actually, the COG has actually taken it a step further. The bylaws that are in your package under Article 10, page 16 of the bylaws of the COG, it states that the planning duties and responsibilities of the council, and that refers to them, shall be carried out by the Regional Planning Commission. So what they're saying, in fact, is that while the mandatory referrals that come into the region will still go through the same process that we're all used to in both regions for Planning Commission review, we're going to also use this body to develop policy. So Regional Plan of Conservation and Development, long-range transportation plans. We're going to use this as a working committee to vet plans developed by the staff and then work their way up to the Council of Governments for endorsement. We'll do that. I can't think of any planning document that we'll develop on a regional basis that won't probably come through here first. Other than timing issues or things that might be less significant than those seminal documents I referred to, I can't see anything that wouldn't come here for development with staff and input from the P&Z members, or the P&Z employees. Now, the board, the actual Council of Governments, has not had its organizational meeting yet as a Council of Governments. It's been a temporary executive committee that's been meeting since October, I believe? September? August, particularly. Yeah. That's right. So they're going to have their organizational meeting on January 16th. Staff will be presenting and recommending adoption of all of the policies of the agency at that point. Now, one of the good things, I believe, is that the bylaws can be amended at any time with a quorum present. So we don't have to go through some long process. If there's something wrong, something needs to be changed, we have another recommendation from you folks, we can bring it up and put it in front of the Council of Governments, relatively short notice. So there are a number of changes or recommendations, I should say, that staff and some of the new members have been working on, and there are going to be suggestions to the board. Our plan is, I think, to incorporate most of those in our staff recommendation for the 16th. So our goal is to publish all our recommended documents by Friday of this week. And if there's something that is not included in the recommendation, or again, something that comes up in the future, we can change those bylaws. The COG can change those bylaws at any date in the future. So with that...
Director Dunn, I think you captured the essence, at least what I think is regional planning. Bob Flanagan from Thomaston. And I've seen Council of Elected Officials operate and without a regional planning commission, and their meetings seem to be 3 or 4 hours long. And our chief elected officials are very busy folks. And I think that whatever we can do as a working group to kind of streamline and make their time here more efficient is a good idea. And I think that's what the Regional Planning Commission does. It's, as you said, it's a working group. It massages policy, recommendations from staff, and then passes those recommendations on to the chief elected officials. So we play a very important role here. If anything, another set of eyes on policy, but also streamlining the process for the elected officials. And I think it's very important that we're here and we're doing this job. You captured it essentially very well.
That's a good description of it.
Very good.
The legislature does have this expectation that the chief elected officials were going to do everything under a council of governments. I think that's something our state association of councils of governments will be discussing that with the Planning and Development Committee at the legislature this year. And so if there are other recommendations that you may have for how the state laws are structured, feel free and send them my way. Be happy to take them on through our legislative agenda this year. We do expect there to be some tweaking and changes to the statutes this year. So.
I did have one other question, and I certainly want to monopolize the meeting.
No.
With reference to the Regional Plan of Conservation and Development, we're all coming from different regions here, and I'm just wondering, is there an idea from staff on how that's going to kind of germinate, and is there a timeline on that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
We don't have to have an answer.
No answer.
There's no penalty
Right.
for not updating a regional plan within a certain time period as there is for a municipal plan. We do expect most municipal plans are going to be updated in 2015.
Right, by July 1st, 2015. The intention is obviously to use the current regional plans as sort of the basis. And then we're going to be reviewing each of the municipal plans because the regional plan, we want to be consistent pretty much with each of the local plans. And also we want to be consistent with the state plan of conservation and development. So that and the idea is a lot of it's going to flow from the local upwards as opposed to top down. I think the idea is that the local plans will sort of be the real detailed plans, and then the regional is going to be a little bit more general, and then the state's even more general than that. So that's going to be the process. We're going to review the individual municipal plans, look at the existing regional plans, and then go from there. We probably anticipate we're not going to draft a regional plan, give it to you and say, here, adopt it or, not adopt it. It's going to be a give and take, an interactive process where we'll be bringing, either being, working sessions or something at different RPC meetings where we'll try to be getting input from the committee members. And so you're going to be, intimately involved in helping to write the thing, or at least providing the direction of how.
So that may be a couple of years off.
I don't think it's going to be quite that long, but probably 2016.
We're going to target 2016.
Okay, good.
Assuming everybody gets filed on time in 2015 and we have a basis to work with.
Will you be working off the new, because I know like Shelton's is coming out.
Right, yes.
So,
Definitely we'll be looking off.
And I will just add that we don't view the plan of conservation and development as a Bible. We view it as a guide.
That's right.
And it's a working guide that, a lot of people criticize planning and zoning commissions for not following it to the letter, and I don't think that's what they're, I'm just putting in my 2 cents on it.
Plans of conservation.
Sorry, yes.
Plans of conservation are just that. They are a guide. They try to provide a framework, but they aren't a rigid document. And that's the other thing. Even with the regional plan, it's not going to be a rigid document. There's going to be opportunity to adjust it and modify as needed. And as we learn more about the needs, goals, aspirations of the region, we try to reflect that into the plan. And that's why the input from the RPC members is critical, especially now with the old COG CNV was 13 towns, Valley was 4, and then bringing in 2 towns from the central Connecticut region. It's trying to bring 3 towns from 3 regions into one. So we're going to have to rely on a lot of input from the members.
Okay, getting back to the mission statement then, and the input was great.
Can
to this
I
whole
just
thing.
suggest,
Yes.
well, I was the only one that said who I was.
Bring it
Yeah.
forward.
I had, so I kind of feel like
No, no.
I'd love to hear.
I let it go off a little bit, but it was, you kind of had a good
I'd love to
information
hear
out of
from
it.
everybody else's.
Yes, Bob, would you like to go?
No, I'm going to defer to my associate.
Oh.
Tom Zelman.
I'm planning.
The Woodbury Twins.
The Bob.
That's it? Well, yes, I didn't really understand what the question was, and I certainly, on my first appearance here, don't have an observation to make.
No, I think it's just what brings you here. What you know. How were you
expecting?
selected to serve on this? What's your
My
interest?
arm was twisted behind my back, and I agreed to take on the job.
Let me say this. I think that, as stated, this is a great mission statement.
Okay.
Gary Giordano here from the town of Bethlehem. I'm an alternate member of the Planning Commission in Bethlehem. I happened to miss last month's meeting, so guess what? A little background on myself. I'm a professional engineer and a land surveyor. I do work, well, this morning I was out in Waterford doing a job. I've dealt with many municipalities and their planning commissions, right, Mr. Sequin?
Yes, Mr. Giordano.
You can represent, I've been at a lot of meetings, so I have a good understanding of all your towns working. Unfortunately, my hometown, we just have planning, we don't have any zoning, so we are the little corner that's the exception to the rule.
Mhm.
So I think I have quite a bit of a feeling what's going on in the area, so maybe I can help.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Ken Long here is for myself. I grew up in the area. I came from Middlebury. I worked for the town for 27 years, so I see how government works. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. So I thought I'd get involved with town activities, being in the fire department and then different stuff, and maybe throw my 2 cents in. I think it's important to get civic people involved. A lot of us serve on boards within town. I'm on Zoning Board of Appeals, and we have the elected officials on one side, but then we become the private citizens, sort of bringing and talking of ideas and discussing them here, and then moving it up the channel a little bit. Just another avenue of input and discussion of ideas. And one of the things that I've taken away from this organization, it's been, I think, 6 or 7 years now I've been on this board, we get a lot of discussion and share a lot of information that gets brought back to the towns, get brought back to the local zoning boards and planning boards that they may not otherwise get. That's one of the things I really enjoy about this organization. So that's my take.
I served on planning and zoning for 9 years. I've been a zoning enforcement officer for 4. I worked on a strategic plan for the town of Seymour for 12 years. And I'm really involved. I want to see us work together as towns. It's important that Ansonia, Beacon Falls, Derby, and Oxford, and Woodbridge, we all work together for a long-term plan, not just a short-term. We got to figure out when I'm long gone that we have a plan and process.
Very good. Bob?
I'm Bob Flanagan. I'm from the town of Thomaston. In the interest of full disclosure, I also work during the day for the city of Bristol as the assistant city planner. I'm also a certified planner. In Thomaston, I'm wearing my Thomaston hat tonight. I serve as vice chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals. I've been on the Regional Planning Commission for 12 years, the Central Naugatuck Valley, and I thought it was important to have some continuity, to bring some continuity to this new board, so I offered to serve in this capacity. And then during my day job, I work with Marie here from Bristol, and I'm going to hand it off to her. Marie is on our Planning Commission of Bristol.
I'm Commissioner for the Bristol Planning Commission. I volunteered to be here, so it's a little different. One of the reasons why I did that is I've been on the Planning Commission for a number of years. I don't even want to count anymore. And there was some frustration with the Regional Planning Commission that whoever was the person, and I don't even remember his name, we never saw the person, so we never got the feedback from the region. And as this started to develop, I thought about how it was nice. I did do a grant with the Region Planning Commission for the Forestville district of Bristol. And I just thought it would be a nice way to start really bringing back to our board more information from a regional standpoint.
Great. Sounds great.
I'm Joe Yauman. I'm from Ansonia. I was chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals for several years. I now sit on the Planning and Zoning Board in Ansonia. The mayor drew my number and asked me to come here. We haven't actually had a meeting yet for Planning and Zoning to officially put me here, so I'm here in a non-voting capacity for the first night. But our meeting's at the end of January, so hopefully I'll be returning.
Okay, great. Kathy Sherman from Woken. Been on this board for several years. I'm vice chair of the planning and zoning. I am planning and zoning for the town of Woken. I'm vice chair of that, and I've been on that board for several years. I've been on many, many boards and commissions.
People on the phone, on the conference call. Jim?
Okay, Jim Sequin. I'm the city planner for the city of Waterbury. I've been a professional planner for more years than I care to think I'm even old out, 34 years. I guess we're still on the mission statement, I guess, for the, and specifically the regional plan of conservation and development. And just from my viewpoint, I think the regional plan has to focus on cooperation amongst various towns, coordinating the activities in neighboring towns, and also dealing with inconsistencies that may arise in the town's plans relative to the state's plans, relative to the regional plans. I think it needs to be a discussion forum where we can deal with any inconsistencies that may arise. Other than that, just my professional experience does include giving Mr. Giordano a hard time. And I try to do that.
Good job.
Try to do that at least 6 times a year.
Okay, Michael?
This is Michael Brzezinski from Beacon Falls. My past experience, I've been on the Inland and Wetlands Watercourse Commission for 6 or 7 years now. And I've been on the Conservation Commission for a little over 4, I believe, and I've also recently taken over as chair for our Land Use Committee. Yeah, in terms of mission statement, I completely agree. In order for us to be a prosperous region, you know, the best alignment that we can have between towns and cities will definitely help us get to that point. One of the things that I like about it, and I've seen it in the past in terms of Richmond Mixed Development, has been just the information exchange between the towns and cities, and the help that everyone's provided. So, you know, I think that's a huge benefit to our commission, and looking forward to that some more.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before we move on from this particular issue, just a couple of things I wanted to mention. The cultural merger of the two agencies. So we do things a bit differently. The Valley Council of Governments is actually writing the plans of conservation and development for Ansonia, Derby, and Seymour. So that's something that we do as a staff function. Shelton has a full-time planning department that writes their own CD. So ours, now that we're coming together, we have to incorporate that activity of writing those municipal plans in. We have to discuss also how we want to approach this and whether we can approach this same task in the future. One of the charges that I have from the CEOs is to develop additional services that we can provide as a region to the towns. I was talking with Ken before the meeting a little bit. One of the things that Valley was pursuing just before the whole merger thing hit the fan was the provision of a regionally located town planner or a regionally located town engineer. We have a number of small cities, small towns, who either have consultants or can't afford to have professional staff full-time. So we were pursuing that as 4 towns, looking at potential for 3 towns to maybe share engineer at the regional level, and then eventually a planner when the need arose for all 3. So we're going to be looking into that. Probably going to be doing some survey work. I would say when we get to the summer, we're going to try and enter into some survey work with, opinion survey, not land survey, with CEOs and with the members of this commission to determine what it is you see as a role the COG can play, what services or what ideas you would want to come out of this entity. The last thing I just want to touch on is I think the first document we're going to be working on is what, LRTP update? So insofar as planning documents, the long-range transportation plan documents will be the first ones that you will probably see as in the regions.
Okay, great, thank you. In fairness to the new towns here, not that I want to drag the mission statement out to another meeting, but I'd really like the new towns here to get a chance to read it and put your input in. And particularly, like Rick said, was different cultures. Let's get your input to this, and then the next meeting, let's bring it up on the agenda and take action on it next meeting and have discussion then. Because it'd be really nice to get Valley input and Bristol and Plymouth.
Hopefully, we'll have all 19 appointments by then as well.
Which would be great. That's why it'd be great to do that then. And it would be after the first meeting of the new COG.
Correct.
So we'll table that for the next meeting.
So you're giving us homework, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, I am.
So do you want a motion to table it, or are you just going to?
I'm just going to table it. Okay. Took care of that. Now, item number 4 is the Naugatuck Valley Council of Government draft bylaws. Draft list of amendments to Article 10 to the Naugatuck Valley Council of Government bylaws is adopted by the Naugatuck Valley Council of Government Tech Committee, the Transitional Committee, Executive Committee, on November 14th. Rick, do you want to, you already mentioned, you touched on that some, you want to expand?
We're constantly reviewing these documents that were adopted provisionally by the Transitional Commission. Right now, we're doing the final legal reviews to make sure that any of the individual policies that were adopted don't conflict with each other. We know there are no conflicts within the individual documents, but not absolutely certain they don't conflict with each other. There's some additional double-checking being done on statutory compliance. So far, we haven't found anything. The lawyers haven't found anything. The staff did a pretty good job. Joanna actually worked primarily on drafting the new policies for the agency, along with Sean Kelleher, who was at Valley COG previously. And then we'll more than likely have incorporated through your input, the input we've already received, and through the staff, any changes to the bylaws. But I don't think, do we have anything, Joanna, at this point that for Article 10 that is being proposed?
I just want to bring attention to a letter that was drafted by Ken Long, also with input from previous executive director and myself. This is a letter, if you see this, it's memorandum, it's not a letter, it's a memorandum 12/11/14. It should be right after the mission statement. And these are the proposed changes to Article 10 of the bylaws, the adopted bylaws, which needs to still be ratified by the new Council of Government, Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments. So there are three areas that needed clarification. The memo, if you read it, explains what the changes are about. Mostly there was confusion about the process of appointing a representative to the Regional Planning Commission. That's what the first item is about. And also wanted to make sure that there was someone from each municipality that was in some way either a land use officer, and instead of just a chief administrative officer, someone who's more versed in the planning and zoning of the area. So someone who, even if they were not a resident of that area, if they work on a daily basis, a lot of planners, town planners, live in a different city than the ones that they work in. So that was kind of to accommodate that. Following that, we just wanted to add to the definitions a land use officer, and that is actually outside of Article 10. That's in Article 1 of the definitions. And the last one, just making sure that the duties and responsibilities included development, recommendation, and amendments to a plan of conservation and development. And these were just a list of what we were working on. We had every intention of bringing this list to this new body, this new Regional Planning Commission, for your own input and your own additions or edits to what we had added.
We didn't take a vote on this?
We didn't take any vote on these, no.
We, you know, if there's more input to that, we can certainly change that.
But we don't actually need a vote from you if you have either a consensus or a majority. Work directly with staff on it because we're doing a final draft still for the board. So we'll be able to, you know, the bones of this have been outlined by the CEOs.
Yes.
They went beyond, again, what the legislature required, which is very little in terms of how the board can be constituted. But the CEOs preferred, with the advice of staff, to appoint people who are either, as Joanna said, from their local commissions or municipal professionals in the planning and zoning and land use areas.
Yeah, that's what we tried to clear up with the language here in our discussions.
So I mean that's the main thrust of it. It's really up to the CEOs if they want to delegate additional duties or responsibilities. But I actually think on that part of it, you know, whatever you suggest to be included in the bylaws, I think they'll agree to. But I think what you don't want to do is adopt something that seems limiting. They have the power to send anything your way, and as a matter of standard operating procedure, planning staff is being directed by me to send every document through the commission, every major document through the commission.
Okay.
So, Director Dunn, do you have a recommendation on this memo? How should this board handle it?
I don't actually need endorsement from the body, but you're more than welcome to endorse the version that is in front of you today. I believe that incorporates the 3 changes that Joanna outlined.
It's what we discussed in our last meeting of the old RPC.
So it's a consensus of the new director, the old director, the old director, and
myself and staff here also.
Chair.
And members of the old RPC. We did discuss this last month, and the only thing is there's members of the old, you know, of the old Valley Cog and stuff who may not have seen this. So the question is, are they comfortable if we do just take a vote to have you present this forward as coming from us? I mean, I don't think it really needs to have a vote from us, but...
It doesn't, but I just wanted to make clear you're more than welcome to endorse it if you like, but it's not necessary. This is the way we are going to plan to present it as staff. We've finished, as a matter of fact, today we did the last little bit of triple checking amongst the 3 of us, just to make sure we all agreed that the statute and the language were consistent.
Okay. Yes.
Can we hold off until the next meeting, hopefully when everybody will be here? I think consensus is fine, but let's include everybody in a more formal.
Well, I think Rick mentioned that they're going to try to bring this forward to the COG elected at their next meeting, which is the 16th.
They're scheduled to adopt on the 16th.
But we can modify this later.
Yeah.
So I think we take Rick's advice, we bring this forward as a consensus of this group.
By acclamation.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it's a living, breathing document, so if there is anything that any of the new members find objectionable, we certainly can...
We certainly could address it. All we did was, we didn't reinvent the wheel, we just sort of cleaned up some little issues that we all felt as a group needed to be addressed.
And you did say earlier that it's pretty easy to change this, we don't have to go through a whole formal motion a
Right.
couple months at a time.
It's just a regular notice requirement. It might be a 30-day notice requirement for a bylaw change, but the no special publication, no supermajority, regular vote of a quorum president voting.
And like I said, we didn't reinvent the wheel of what was original.
If you have the other part where you have to do notice, supermajority and all that,
Yeah,
it really
we'll
drags
have
things
to do
out.
that.
If we can change it, if we had to change things, if we do find it, and do it quickly, then, I feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, and as long as the elected officials are happy with it, I think, because they're the ones who appoint us.
All of these will get filed. Any agenda, any actions of the almost like council of elected officials, council of governments, get filed with your town clerks. We ask them to post them on the public board in each town hall and in any online meeting records that you keep or notices that you keep. So pretty wide distribution of these with 19 towns, and most town clerks are pretty cooperative.
Okay, well, we'll leave it in the director's hands then, and we're in good shape. Okay. Next item, number 5, schedule of meetings. That becomes, I know the Valley, you held them on Thursdays? What day?
Tuesdays.
Oh, you did hold them Tuesdays, but it was a different Tuesday, and it was earlier. What did you do? 5:30?
5:15.
5:15. We've always been, first Tuesday, 7 o'clock, and Bristol. You did it early.
No, that should work. And
Because the
first
question.
Tuesday,
Yeah, I think he's talking about the RPA.
the RPA.
I think they met during the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
First Wednesday, I think.
Okay.
But again,
During the day.
we
Yeah.
had very little input from our rep.
Okay. The question then comes, I think for the people from the old Naugatuck Valley Council, it works at this time and day. The question is, does it work for the Valley towns? It's a new organization, but, we may all have to give a little bit in what works for...
Well, the members can speak for themselves, but I don't believe we have any incumbent members, except you might have been appointed just before it broke up, the old organization.
I was on it about 5 months.
Okay.
So, there's
And actually, I was working during the time of the meeting, so I used to let out and come back to work.
So unless you guys have any personal conflicts, I don't think the Valley has opposition, the Lower Valley has opposition, generally.
And there's still no staff issues with this time? Still works for everybody?
No,
So
it doesn't matter. At 5:30 we fed you dinner. At 7 o'clock, we get coffee.
Okay.
I think it just gives everyone time to get home from work and...
They have dinner with a
Have a bite
family and whatever, and then get down here.
I think actually the size of the region almost necessitates it. We were down there, we're a much closer area.
You need travel
right
time.
after work, be there, meet, and go home.
Yeah.
Now it's a much longer travel for some people,
Mhm.
but at least we're only all going to Waterbury.
Well then, I'll ask for a motion to keep the meeting schedule the same way we have it now.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Is there any thought about the meeting moving location?
I just have a question. How often are we meeting? We're meeting Tuesday at 7 p.m.,
Yes.
but are they going to be monthly meetings, 2 months, quarterly?
Well, that's something else thank you, Jim. We've been doing it 6 times a year, every other month, is the way we've been doing it now. We usually cancel the July meeting because of the 4th of July. It's just so close, people are on vacation time. Does anybody here have any input on that? We're still under discussion.
I'm sorry, was it Ruth from Shelton?
Yes.
Ruth had a question.
She had a comment, yes.
Is there any discussion about having the meeting moved, or will it always be in Waterbury? Will it travel to different locations?
I know the elected officials travel, generally. We've always had it here. I don't know if the members would want to move it. It's probably more convenient for staff to be here. I mean, that I don't know. I don't know. I've never asked the staff that question, so I don't know. I mean, I think it might be easier to be here. Feel free, Rip.
It's central to the region, which is the problem for us. If we rotate, I know no offense to Bristol at all, but I don't enjoy the ride from the lower valley to Bristol.
Neither do I.
Right. And so it could make it less likely that we get as much of a quorum or as regular a quorum.
If you start moving around.
That's a good point, too.
You would also have to make sure that you have the room and set aside, and there's a lot going on in each town for different meetings.
We still have the office space in Derby for the
Okay.
Old Valley offices. We're going to maintain that space for a while, not for reasons related to the COG, but related to our transit operations.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Go ahead. Was that Jim?
I was just going to ask if we do move around, will we still have the option to call in?
Yes. Yes, as long as there's a phone in the room with a speaker, we'll be able to set up the same call-in number.
It was more a question than a suggestion.
Okay, no, believe me, this is an open forum.
The
We
person,
want to hear.
the individual that served on this in the valley
I would think
did not
Jenny would
want
have
to come up to
a tough time
Waterbury,
getting here.
so which is why I volunteered to be on the committee.
What we found is it's nice here because the facilities are set up. We have the projector. If the staff needs to make a copy of something like we did tonight, which usually does happen, it's very convenient. It is convenient. Parking is easy right behind the building.
Oh, is that where it is?
You're not there?
No, I'm not there.
I would say, just my personal opinion, because this organization is in its infancy, that maybe the first year we meet here in Waterbury, and then we can certainly re-examine it next year. But I think for our group, it's important to be centralized and to be here. And again, if we do decide that it's every other month, it's not particularly onerous, and if you can just build it into your schedule, I think it's. Of course, I'm coming from Thomaston, so it's not that far, but I wanted to just mention this anecdotally. When I was first appointed many years ago, the first selectman called me at the time, and he said to me, he goes, "Bob, I think it's a great idea you want to serve. I can't get anybody to go to Waterbury at night." So I certainly hear the concern, but...
I don't have concern.
No, I know you don't, but...
Which is why I'm here.
Right.
Yeah, for me, if we come out of Seymour, it's a 15-minute ride.
Yeah, right after 8. So.
And I'd rather not go to Bristol or...
Well, I think the consensus is we keep it here. It's centralized for everybody.
I think it makes the most sense. I think the other consideration, though, is the other issue requires some amount of direction to staff. Depending on how many times a year you want to meet, how you would like staff to handle referrals that come in and are on the 65-day timetable, where there may not be a meeting scheduled of the regional commission. So I don't know, have you guys decided on how referrals are going to be handled?
That's item number 6.
Okay. Should have read the agenda there.
Okay. Well, there's a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. We've had discussion. All in favor of keeping the schedule the way it is and the location, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Aye.
Motion carries then.
So just for the record, that's
Oh,
first. Go right ahead,
Before
sir.
we go, I just want to state, I think that we're meeting on the first Tuesday at 7 p.m. every other month.
Yes.
Okay.
And probably no July.
Okay.
Yeah, usually we can't.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I could
Yes.
add, with that being said, is it would everyone be in agreement of meeting next month, the second Tuesday? Just as a...
As a special meeting, you mean?
Well, no, just as a... We were expecting...
Well, it would be a special meeting.
but out of...
by the way,
right now, it would be out of the ordinary. But just as another organizational, I just wanted to, if I might...
No, please.
We were starting to put together these manuals for the Regional Planning Commission with a lot of background information about the towns that were coming in and all the subgroups that are joining this new NBCOG. And I'd like to at least just go through it next time, have it, it's a living document too, it's a binder, so you can always take out, put in anything you want. We're just standardizing a lot of the maps and a lot of the information right now, which is why I didn't want to bring it today and disseminate information that's not quite there yet. So I would ask, if you'd like to do that.
Well, we could certainly have a special meeting to help introduce the new members more to the details of the organization
Right,
and
yeah.
of the area of the region.
Right.
We could certainly do that. And then, all participants who wish to be, all the towns want to be here, could certainly be here.
Did you say a second meeting or on the second Tuesday?
I was thinking on the second Tuesday.
Just next month.
Next month,
After
yeah.
February.
That would be the 10th of February.
My commission meeting's on the...
Is there a reason why we couldn't do it on the first
Oh.
Tuesday?
Yeah,
Wait, so-
Joanna,
You say second
is the first Tuesday a problem?
Ruth is...
The second Tuesday are my commission meetings.
No, today's the first. Tuesday. That's why you were confused.
It's been a long day.
The meetings are the first Tuesday.
Never
You have it the
mind.
first Tuesday of February, I can be here.
Okay. How about the
Third?
first Tuesday?
February 3rd.
February 3rd?
That would be the 3rd.
We could certainly do, and if there's not a quorum, we don't have to have any action. It's just to help fill in the new people on the
Right.
commission, all the background and details.
Yeah,
That would be a
question.
Yes, Mark?
Yeah, and you would have a call-in option, and I could send this binder along or deliver it to
We'll
you.
deliver it.
Yeah.
I guess the question is, do you want to try to have the election of officers that meeting?
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
an
have the
override.
nominations committee meet this month and bring a slate to the body in February so we can at least vote on our...
We could certainly do that, because if there was a snowstorm issue, then we could just postpone it to the March meeting.
Right.
And that way we wouldn't lose the March meeting. So yeah, that's actually a very good idea. Why don't we do that, have a special meeting in February?
Okay. Do you need to have a vote on that?
I can declare a special meeting anytime.
Yeah.
I'll ask for a vote.
You know what would be helpful?
Sure.
If you just amended the motion to the specific months, meeting the specific months. So you'll have your regular meetings, February, March, May, August, October, and December. Is that 6? 7? It should be 7.
February, April.
January.
Of January.
Would that work for everybody? We just shift, which we'd end up probably with 6 meetings.
Right.
We'd end up with the full 6 meetings then if we did that.
And if you do that, then they'll all be regular meetings. So if you need to add, because
Yeah.
the problem is with a special meeting, if something comes up and needs to be added to the agenda, you can't add.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying make this February a regular meeting?
A regular meeting.
Right.
We'll
And
change our whole
If you
schedule.
adopt that as your meeting schedule, we'll file it with the Secretary of State as a regular meeting schedule, and then there won't be any issue with being able to add something at the last minute if necessary.
I'll make a motion to schedule the regular meetings of the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments Regional Planning Commission for January, February, March, May, August, October, and December of 2015. That's my motion.
Motion to amend.
Go ahead.
We're having a motion to amend.
To amend.
To amend, I apologize. Thank you. Thank you.
Second.
Second. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
And just one more vote, Mr. Chairman, for
Yes.
a motion to approve the amended motion.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion?
The only discussion is, do we anticipate a full membership?
It really is dependent upon each municipality's ability to complete their appointment process. I'm hoping so. Joanna and actually Joanna has been tracking this more closely than anyone, and she's probably going to be the primary person keeping.
Yeah, people
this
are
group
sending me
organized.
the appointment letters, well, also Lauren, but like in your case, you're still, in Joe's case, they're meeting next week.
We have a meeting the last Monday of January,
So in a
so
couple
we
of
should be
weeks.
okay in terms
Yeah.
of
But
February.
I applaud you for coming tonight.
Yes,
Thank you very
thank you.
much. That's a lot of goodwill. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion?
If I could just get, who had the first and second on that last one? First Bill?
First, second.
And Bob.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
No opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Great. Okay, last item on the agenda, procedures for referrals. This is something I know the other councils, the other COGs did differently than us, the other RPCs, I mean. Here, a lot of stuff was done, you know, directly hands-on by staff. I know Valley did it a little bit different. So, Joanna, you're more exact, you know, aware of how they did it right in-house, more than I am, you were in-house, with the referrals.
Right, we would do, pretty much the staff handled all the referrals. What we did was, once we actually wrote the letters, we sent copies to all of the RPC members, chief elected officials, everyone who was on the council, and also the abutting towns and the other regional planning agencies that were involved. So in the last, at least in our COG CNV, the RPC let the staff handle all the referrals. And the referrals, they were always able to, the person who was getting the referral letter could contest it through the actual Council of Governments if they found they weren't in agreement with the letter. So, pretty much.
Yes. Because with 13 towns, there was a lot of referrals coming in,
right.
and because of the deadlines, it made a lot of sense. Sometimes it was a simple thing, sometimes it was just notification, and sometimes when staff wrote the letters, or the executive director wrote the letters.
Right. It is some. It may not be quite as discretionary as it once was, but what's clearly acceptable is that staff can write the responses and the opinions for the referrals that come in under the statutory requirement which I forget exactly the statute, but it's within 500 feet of the town boundary change zone anyway. Everybody familiar with what we're talking about? Everyone has enough familiarity with the process? Okay. So the statute now says that the COG may delegate. What's unclear about this is whether the COG actually has to endorse your recommendations formally, or if staff does it, whether the COG has to endorse it. We are taking the position that no, nothing has changed from what was in existence prior. This is one of the things we hope to clarify in the upcoming legislative session. But I just wanted to be clear with you folks. If your decision is to always have staff handle the referrals, then you would never have to deal with them at meetings. That would be up to you. If you wanted a report, as the staff referrals went out, they could either be distributed by email to you so you saw them contemporaneously, or if you just wanted a report compilation of them like the next time you met, you could ask for that as well. But I do expect the statute to at least be clarified in regards to this section, because of the way it's currently worded in the statute. It would seem that these things have to go back to the COG, and that was not anyone's intent last year, because we were all worried about the timing, the deadline for referrals and the receipt of the opinion. Of course, we all know, those of you who are on P&Z commissions, you don't have to even accept them, but we still have to perform the review.
Right, and I just want to stress that this is totally advisory. We're an advisory group.
Yes.
So whatever we write are staff's opinion, and we made sure that it was different. We didn't say RPC's opinion, it was staff's opinion. And of course, anyone, when we sent it out, anyone could actually come right back to us and say, I don't agree with this, or I think this might need a change, or that might need a change. All of you are welcome to do that once we send the letter, or once it's out there. We also included in your packet how the Capital Region does their process. What I liked about it is that they actually posted on their website all the referrals that have gone through. And that's also another good way of making the information public. That's something we could discuss as a new version of our process.
I think that would provide two things. Number one, we could all see what's going on in real time.
Right.
And the public has more access to the information.
Right.
I think there's two things that's good.
One of the nuances with the old COG, I say the old COG, the Waterbury COG for lack of a better term, was that when the referrals went out, if you were a representative of the Regional Planning Commission and it was an abutting town or your town, you were emailed, you were copied on the
Yes,
referral, so
yes,
you had a
yes.
timely notification that there was something, going on within 500 feet of your town, or, so I thought that was a particularly good model to follow. And I'm all for delegating to staff, these referrals, and if that's reflected in this document, then I'm fine with it.
I agree, especially if
Go ahead, Jim.
I think there is a related issue too. If we as a group are going to be reviewing these, I think we're going to have to meet every month.
Yeah,
We have to.
With a quorum.
Yes, with a quorum.
With a quorum, yes, of course.
And that's why I think going with the staff, I think works very well.
Excuse me, Ms. Penna.
Right, from a timing issue, certainly it works better to have
Oh,
staff,
absolutely.
and because it is advisory, there's really no need for an appeal process. There was mentioned before that they could always appeal it to the
And they can
but
come to
there's
this
no need
board.
to because it's advisory, it's not,
Some people choose
it's
to
not
fight.
like a planning and zoning,
Yeah.
issue, or like the zoning enforcement issue, that they come before the planning and zoning.
Sometimes people just
You're
don't like the
absolutely
opinion that's there because they want to use it for something else.
Right,
And they can
right.
come to us, and then they can still appeal it to the full elected commission.
And there are some people who just want to be on the record in opposition. And if the local body doesn't actually accept the opinion or it doesn't come in time for the hearing, and it's not endorsed publicly here, that they are not afforded an opportunity to oppose something on the record. So this gives them that opportunity.
I just wonder if it would be possible to get just some sort of, not a lengthy report, but just sort of the ones that have been approved on a,
We could do that at the regular monthly meetings, or,
Right. Yeah, nothing lengthy, we don't want to kill a lot of trees with, paper use, but.
Well, what I would suggest is this. We plan to post everything on the website. I would like the staff to post, and this is a suggestion to the board. Staff posts its draft review and opinion on the website and notifies all of you when it's posted. That gives you the earliest opportunity to comment to staff if you object or want something changed. The alternative to that is to have the staff email them to you individually so that they're not posted, the staff opinion is not posted before taking any comment from the members. It's really up to you. It can be done either way, but I feel very strongly that you all need to be very much aware of what staff publishes in regard to these referrals.
If it's still a draft format, I think it should go directly to the members first, and then post it once it's the final.
And how many of these do you typically handle?
It varies. It's going to be hard to know now with the new 19-town configuration where the 500 feet, it always hits the same in each town, obviously, but when you have abutting regional referrals, that affects it as well. We used to get a couple, in the lower valley, we get a couple of them.
Oh, okay. We're not talking 30,
Oh, no,
30
no,
or 50
no.
referrals.
No,
Okay.
no.
I hope it's we never have a month where it exceeds 5.
Okay.
Well, I'll be the test program for you. I have one coming into you tomorrow. I'm doing a job in Morris, so we're going to be on one of the other regencies, so we'll test your program.
Well, because it also has to work for the staff, because we don't want to overwhelm the staff
Right,
either.
right.
It has to work for you people.
But if we're going to do it, I want to make sure that all of you have the opportunity to contact staff and discuss the draft opinion before it goes out.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I like that very much.
And if you don't get a comment back, then...
Yeah, no comment
means
means...
no comment is...
It's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
Right. Yeah, all the members shouldn't, all the members shouldn't be compelled to have to log in with an email and say, I'm okay with this.
Right.
If there's no comment, it's just accept it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, make sure there's a hard deadline, obviously.
Usually the hard deadline is coincides with the public hearing, or because that letter...
Yeah, I believe what has to happen is the responsibility of the commission to notify the Council of Governments 30 days prior to the opening of the hearing. So most instances you don't have much more than 30 days.
Correct.
And sometimes we handle them with less. It happens.
Right. Oh, yeah, I've seen it happen with a couple of days.
By just sending us the
Exactly.
information.
Yes.
We send, how the COG CNV has done it, we've sent them a postcard with a date saying, we've entered, we've received it. If you don't hear anything back from us, take it as we don't disagree.
Right.
And it fills the requirement of doing that.
Right. And
Gives
that's
ample time to respond.
correct.
The position that the lower valley would take was a finding, and it doesn't have to be a finding, but it may be part of the postcard, no significant regional impact. In the old statutes, we were really charged with looking at interregional impact. It was how did it affect that border situation. So that was a finding that our board would often make if they didn't want to make a specific opinion, but they wanted to go on record that would be the opinion they issued. I would suggest to staff that there are times where that may be the opinion they want to issue as well. But if we don't respond, if we choose not to respond or we can't meet the deadline, that may be the language. But that's something you guys should agree on with our staff over time.
And you mentioned that next month that some of this statutory language may change anyway?
We are going to, the state statutes, we're going to be, there should be a subject matter public hearing scheduled for the Planning and Development Committee sometime in late January or early February before their JF deadline. And we anticipate taking up some language to cure some of the hiccups in the Section 124, 4-124.
Jim,
just out of curiosity, is the recommendation going to change that 30-day period?
I doubt it, because that's timed to other. That's anticipating your 65-day period at the town as well, and the ability to schedule the public hearing. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if they would consider that a change.
Right. I'm just speaking as someone who works in the field, that to extend that beyond 30 days could be very problematic to some of the proposals trying to go through the town.
Yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely. Mr. Chairman, there's one thing I neglected to say. I want to get you folks out of here. I don't want to keep you any later tonight. You've met the staff. I think we have all current planning staff here tonight, right? Yeah. They won't all necessarily be here at every meeting. We encourage all staff to attend both meetings of the town on a regular basis, but they won't be at every meeting. There will be additional staff, though. This is what I neglected to mention earlier. There has been an offer made by the prior COG CNV to a planner from the old CCRPA region. So we do anticipate having one person here. I'm going to make it, we'll call it a mechanical problem with the process of hiring. But my intention is on the 16th, when our board approves our staffing plan, then we'll make an offer to an individual from CCRPA who we anticipate being employed here. That will give us some institutional knowledge and perspective from all three of the former regions.
Good. That I'd like to see. That's excellent. One thing we normally do, but we won't do it tonight, so we can get out of here because it is cold, and we're going to have a meeting next month, is we do have a little bit of a roundtable discussion and what's going on in towns, but
Points of interest.
Yeah, the points of interest. We'll shortcut that tonight instead of amending the agenda, and so I'll go home and get warm. So with no other business to come before the Commission?
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to recognize Joanna and all of your staff for doing an exemplary job of pulling all this together.
Yes, they did.
Joanna, you've done a great job, and thank you for all your hard work and all the staff's work. Particularly Joanna. She's really done
spent a lot of time on the phone and meeting with the staff.
And very accessible, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
I look forward to working with everybody. I hope I can speak for the staff as well.
Well, I know, in Mark, a couple times I've had relations with Mark. It's been very, very congenial. Thank you. All right. Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. No one opposed? Aye. Let's go home. Thank you.